In May 2022, a gavel fell on a final auction bid of 135 million euros. The subject of that auction was this car, the 1955 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe. This chart shows the divide between this sale and the previous world record. The 300 SLR created a financial gap of nearly 90 million euros, effectively doubling the highest price ever paid for a classic car in a single transaction. To a casual observer, the figure seems impossible. At a distance, it appears to be an exceptionally elegant, well-preserved sports car from the mid-50s, with the same silver paint and curved lines typical of the era. To understand why a single machine is valued higher than the GDP of some small nations, we have to look through the aluminum bodywork. The 300 SLR is a street-legal shell wrapped around a championship-winning Formula One skeleton. The engineering beneath the body is where the value begins. The car is built on the chassis of the W196R, the car that carried Mercedes to back-to-back Formula One World Championships in the 1950s. This view of the internal architecture shows a dense network of thin, welded steel tubes. There is no heavy steel floor pan or soundproofing. It is the raw, rigid frame of a Grand Prix racer. The engine is a 3-liter inline-8 that produces over 300 horsepower. It utilizes desmodromic valves, a mechanical system using cams to both open and close the valves, preventing the mechanical failure of traditional springs at high RPMs. For fuel delivery, the engineers adapted direct injection technology originally developed for Messerschmitt fighter planes, ensuring the engine received a precise, high-pressure spray of fuel even during extreme cornering forces. This combination created an extreme performance profile, a mid-century track weapon encased in the body of a luxury Grand Tourer. Mercedes had to find a way to enclose that high-performance frame without adding weight that would compromise its speed. The blueprint shows how tightly the bodywork had to be draped over the internal components. They utilized electron, a magnesium-rich alloy, for the body panels. This kept the car's total unladen weight to 998 kilograms, roughly 300 kilograms lighter than a modern subcompact hatchback. Even the iconic gull-wing doors began as a structural requirement. They were a solution to a problem, not an attempt at a signature style. Because the tubular racing frame was so thick and sat so high on the sides of the driver, standard doors couldn't mount to the chassis. Cutting into the frame would weaken the car, so the designers moved the hinges to the roof. These uncompromising engineering choices resulted in one of the most recognizable silhouettes in automotive history, where every curve served a mechanical purpose. The car was originally intended for the world's most grueling endurance trials. It was designed to maintain high speeds over thousands of miles on the public roads of the Carrera Panamericana and the Mille Miglia. That plan was halted by the 1955 Le Mans disaster. After a catastrophic accident involving another Mercedes racer, the company made the decision to stop all factory racing activities immediately. This sudden withdrawal left 2 completed 300 SLR Coupe prototypes with no races to enter. They became pieces of high-performance machinery without a purpose. Rudolf Uhlenhaut, the car's designer and head of testing, decided to save the project. He claimed one of the 180-mile-per-hour prototypes as his personal company car for his daily commute. To make the Grand Prix engine tolerable on public streets, Uhlenhaut added a large silencer to the side exit exhausts. It was the only major modification made to the racing spec vehicle. This led to the car's most famous legend. Running late for a meeting in Stuttgart, Uhlenhaut reportedly drove the 220 kilometers from Munich in just over an hour, a trip that typically took over 2 hours in a standard car. This second life on the public highway meant the 300 SLR was never just a museum piece. It was a prototype that spent its prime being driven to the limit by its creator. The final multiplier of the car's 135 million euro value is absolute scarcity. No amount of money can replicate the specific circumstances that created this machine. Only 2 300 SLR Uhlenhaut coupes exist. For over 6 decades, both were held in the Mercedes-Benz corporate collection, considered permanent assets that would never be offered for sale to the public. When Mercedes-Benz announced the auction of one of those 2 prototypes to a private collector, it represented a single, final opportunity to own what many consider a pinnacle of automotive engineering. That 135 million euro transaction secured a physical union of Formula One dominance, historical tragedy, and mechanical precision. It is the price of owning a piece of the 1950s that was never supposed to leave the factory.